Good morning.
Hey, what's up good people, it's YellowMotion here. We finally got to see the console reveal for PlayStation 5 along with its new game announcements. And I want to give you my thoughts and pretty much my review and opinions on what I just thought about the entire show and the games that they showed, which ones got me really excited. And of course, what my opinion is on the PlayStation 5 console and which version I prefer at this moment, whether it's the digital or the disc version. This was the moment I think we've all been waiting for to see at what games Sony would announce and of course reveal the PlayStation 5 in its full glory. And with a show being called the future of gaming, I had really high expectations for Sony to really showcase and drop one bombshell after the other with their AAA titles such as the next God of War, maybe the next Spider-Man, next Horizon, something maybe from Ready at Dawn Studios. I was really hyped because after all guys, this was the moment where you pretty much need to show your audience on what makes Sony such a valuable company and a studio and what pretty much their lineup is down the road, and most importantly why you should buy the PlayStation 5 on release. And of course I had live streamed this whole event on my channel, and for those who were with me watching it live, I had such a blast with you guys and I really appreciate it. It was really great. The next day I rewatched all of the trailers of the reveals that were announced to pretty much have a better overview and opinion on it. So to start off, I gotta say guys, it was really awkward to start with the very first trailer with the reintroduction of GTA 5, because they literally showed an old trailer in its full and in the end it was just saying coming to PS5 expanded and enhanced without actually showing what is expanded and what is enhanced. At this point, I really don't care about GTA 5 as it has pretty much been with this whole generation since the PS3. So yeah guys, I found it just really awkward to start with that. So as far as the first party games for Sony that got me really hyped and really excited were games like Spider-Man Miles Morales, which was for me one of the highlights of the entire show, mostly because I'm a huge fan of the first game, and secondly it's coming this holiday as part of the launch for PS5, and it's become one of those reasons for me to already get the console on launch. The other game that I was really hyped about was the new Ratchet Clank game. As I have to tell you, when I watched it in 1080p at the live stream, I had a feeling that it looked alright, but it didn't really look like next gen enough. But then again, when I watched the trailer the next day, I was like holy shit, because in 4K it was just mind-blowing, because this game just looks incredible. It's like literally playing a Pixar animation movie. And Insomniac Games is really knocking it out of the park. And what's really interesting with Ratchet & Clank is that in the trailer they pretty much showcased a fraction of what's possible with the super fast SSD, where they pretty much warped between the worlds, pretty much happened instantly without any loading times whatsoever and without any drops. It all went fluently into each other, as this is something really great that I've never seen in this fidelity done before. And I think it's just a fraction that showcases what is possible now with the SSD and the PS5 and how pretty much the hardware comes together. And I'm glad that they really showed it visually in the trailer for Ratchet & Clank, as I'm sure it's something that will really change the way we play and experience games, and I'm looking forward to see how other studios will incorporate it in their games. Pretty much not just eliminating loading times, but delivering new experiences. Some games that got me excited were also the new Gran Turismo 7 and the remake of Demon's Souls. That really looked amazing. And I wish they also showed a little bit of gameplay, but the announcement trailer was just enough. Now, one of the games they closed it off was Horizon Forbidden West. It really looked amazing. Now, even though we didn't see real gameplay, but we saw snippets of gameplay moments and mostly in-game rendered, the game still looks phenomenal coming from Guerrilla Games. And Horizon Forbidden West was pretty much the only game of the entire show that really showed what is possible on a graphical side on the PS5. I already thought the Unreal Engine 5 demo looked insane, but I was really glad that a game like Horizon also showed this fidelity. And of course, there were also a bunch of indie game announcements and a bunch of AAA third-party game announcements. We saw games like Resident Evil Village, which was also one of those games that I'm really interested in, and I can't wait to see more how the actual gameplay looks like. We also finally got to see some first gameplay impressions from Ghostwire Tokyo. I still don't know what the game really is about and how it will be on its gameplay side, where you'll be able to do some spells, fighting ghosts, and it kind of looked trippy to me, as the game has a sort of cute, creepy side to it, with brightful colors and glitchy things going on in between. The game really gave me a vibe of Matrix meets Infamous Second Son and first person, so I have to say it was quite a bit underwhelming compared to its announcement trailer from last year, but that all can change when we see more real gameplay and what the hell it is about. Other title announcement that got me really interested were games like Kenya, Bridge of Spirits, as I really love the art style, and it pretty much seems to be this story-driven action-adventure game in its brightful colors and its world. It just got me, and I'm just looking forward to see more of it actually. The other game that had me intrigued was Project Athia, coming from Square Enix, where we just got a glimpse of how the gameplay was going to look like, set in this open, beautifully world, which seems to be the story-driven epic adventure game set in this big world where you can all do this crazy stuff and have supernatural powers, fighting big-ass monsters and creatures. So yeah, definitely it had me intrigued, and I'm looking forward to seeing more of it. Now, as far as the show, guys, when I was watching it, I honestly found it a bit underwhelming because, first of all, in my opinion, they showed way too many indie titles, and they showed it much longer than other reveals. I mean, they could have easily shown a bunch of those games in an upcoming state of play or something like that, as I think the overall show could have been something like a solid 45 minutes, showcasing a couple of those indie games, but mainly focusing on your AAA titles and those third-party studio games. But in hindsight, guys, we still got a lot of good reveals, more to come for sure. Now, then we got to the main final part, which was the moment we pretty much have been waiting for years, and it was the reveal of the PlayStation 5 itself. And when that reveal happened, my first reaction pretty much was like it looked like a fan-made mock-up, as they all tend to look too futuristic, too exaggerated, and pretty much something you would never see happening in real life. So this time when they revealed it, it was like a concept design actually being made real. Secondly, I thought that it looked like the best of both worlds, of having the PlayStation 3 merged with the Xbox 360, not only with the console but also with its controller. So my first reaction, I was really surprised actually, because I didn't know what to think of it. I wasn't like I instantly loved it, but I didn't hate it either. I mean, it looked like a big diversion of how each PlayStation console has looked like in the past, with this one being really futuristic. I just think that Sony made a big bold move with this one, and time will really tell if it will pay off or not. Each time when I look at the console now, I come to appreciate it more and more as it grows on me. Later, I actually noticed that there is even a V-shaped design of the console itself, which is of course suggesting PlayStation 5. I also had the same when the controller was revealed for the first time, as my first reaction was also that it was a pretty big departure on the DS4 controller, and you could still recognize the PlayStation trademarks in it, but overall the controller itself was also a big bold choice. And over time it also grew on me, and I have that the same with the console design itself, as the more I look at it, I'm like, yeah, I dig it, I like it. Now, something that has me a bit worried is the size of the console, because there has been this graphical comparison chart being made on the potential size of the PS5 based on the disc trays and the USB ports, comparing with the previous PlayStation consoles but also with the Xbox ones. And if you see this chart, you can actually see that the PS5 is huge. I mean, it's the largest console we ever got, and it really looks like a mini PC tower workstation, you know? So it seems like we're going to get a pretty huge console. Man, there is something I think we can all agree on, and that's when the PS5 was revealed, internet pretty much went wild on the memes. And yeah, they really speak for themselves, because they really started to meme the PS5 to its full potential, the best way possible. Now, the last thing we actually got to see was that the PlayStation 5 is going to get a digital version besides the disc version. Just by the design alone, I really prefer the digital version over the disc version, because just looking at the digital version of the PS5, it looks like this was the main to-go design they wanted to make from the get-go, but they knew like, yeah, we had to make a disc version, so let's slap it on the site somewhere and call it a day. According to Sony, both consoles will be equally in both specs, power and hardware. Pretty much the only difference will be whether you wanted to have it with a disc version or not. It's according to Sony, a lot of customers are solely purchasing digitally these days, and that's why they pretty much offered a choice to them. And to that I have to agree, guys, because honestly, I can understand this. I mean, look, I'm a huge favor of physical media and having physical discs, but I have to say, guys, over the years I pretty much have bought more digital games than physical media for mainly two reasons. One of them is they are more easy accessible. You see something, you buy it, it downloads automatically and is ready to go. And many times they have good sales, which most of the times are much cheaper than actually buying secondhand games. The second thing is mostly because usability wise, their disc pretty much becomes obsolete, even on the PS4. I mean, if you put a disc on a PS4, all it really does is copy all the data to the hard drive, and it pretty much makes the disc obsolete. And the disc is pretty much used as a verification method to see if you have the game to start it. So to me, it's like, yeah, there's pretty much no difference. I'd rather have it digitally because it's still going to be installed on my hard drive. I can easily start it, quit it when I want, switch it to the next game on the fly when I want it, without having the need to swap discs in and out. And especially now with the PS5's SSD, where games are going to be making use of it, I think there's not going to be a difference with the disc versions of the PS5. All they will do is pretty much copy the data of the disc to the SSD and still use the disc as a verification method to start the game, because there's no way that the data will be read on the fly from the disc. All will be read from the SSD. And since I'm planning to get the console on day one, chances are of course that the digital version will be a bit cheaper than the disc version. We don't know whether it will be $50 or even $100, but depending on the launch price of the console, let's say if it was going to be something like $500 for the disc version and $400 for the digital one. Yeah, I'm going to get the digital one first just because I want to play the games, and it's a bit cheaper of course. But still guys, I can see both the good and the bad sides on each part of the consoles. But right now at this moment guys, I think I'm more convinced to get the all digital version on release. And there you have it guys, this was me sharing my thoughts and opinions on Sony's huge PS5 event and of course revealing their console. The most important thing to me is guys, what do you think of the PlayStation 5? What do you think of the console, the design, and what are your thoughts on the entire show itself? What did you think of the games that were announced? Did it live up to your expectations or was the letdown? Well guys, share them in the comments below with me as I would love to read them all. And as always guys, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, then please give it a like as it helps greatly with the YouTube algorithm. And also make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell if you want to keep updated with the newest uploads. And if you want to get connected guys, then you can follow me on my social media platforms. Alright guys, that'll do it for me for this one. I hope you have a good day and I see you guys in the next one.